Okay, all I needed was psychotherapy support. But in Israel, it costs 300 shekels an hour. I'm working as a kindergarten teacher, substitute kindergarten teacher, which means it's more than I make a day. And how are they going to talk? They listen to you. It could maybe help. But in order to get psychotherapy, you need a psychiatrist to prescribe it. So I'm waiting for months. And then they told me to call Ichilov psychiatric unit in order to make an appointment with the psychiatrist who's going to evaluate me. I've been calling for the past 3 weeks. They only make appointments from 9 in the morning to 3 o'clock in the morning. Nobody picks up the phone. They put you on this answering machine and disconnect. They don't pick up the phone. So this is the only day you can make appointments and they don't even pick up the phone. So I showed up now. I didn't go to work because I was overwhelmed, because a lot of things have accumulated for me. I don't think I am a psychiatric case because I've never got evaluated as a psychiatric case. I think it's living in a place where I used to live in a very wealthy home. I used to have a mother with a lot of money, and then my siblings decided that I can live off the air. I can live off the air, and they could just take the inheritance, walk into my mother's apartment, just empty the bank accounts of my parents, and decide that everything belongs to them. When I called my brother last night, my nephew said, "We'll call the police." I said, "Tell them you're a thief." My brother works as a manager in the Israeli electricity company. He inherited so many homes. And my father is the cousin of Ruby Rivlin. Ruby Rivlin's grandmother is the sister of my great-grandfather, Avraham Shapira. And Ruby Rivlin, I got a message from him to call the Jewish agency if I need help. Thank you, Ruby Rivlin, for coming to my father's funeral and spitting on the memory of my great-grandfather, who you use in the media. Avraham Shapira is my uncle. He did the sulcha in Kfar Kasem. Avraham Shapira. But Ruby Rivlin, when I asked you to bring my Jewish children to Israel, I got a letter from your secretary that you don't help people, that I should go to the Jewish agency where my father worked, bringing people to Israel in the 70s. Bringing money to Israel, and this is how I'm being treated. My brother and sister robbed me blind. I found myself in Corona not working. The Ministry of Education pays me peanuts. I'm now working with children on the spectrum who throw objects at me, and I'm alone with kids, and I'm not specialized in special education. I'm an English teacher. I get no help. I get punched in the face by children that are not even Jewish. Sorry to say it, but I don't mind if there was Israeli Jewish kids. But these are kids from Russia, from Eritrea. Half of the special education in Israel is kids that are not even Israeli Jews. Sorry, but they have also other problems. They have other problems besides being on the spectrum, which are violence. And I'm the punching bag for all these people. And I've been a punching bag for too many people for too long. All I wanted is somebody to talk to listen to me, and to help me deal with the fact that I don't have money to pay bills. And my son is leaving Israel because Israel doesn't help him. Because they thought he was American. They thought he was American. He made Aliyah a year and a half ago. His grandfather was bringing people to Israel from the Jewish agency. Nobody is helping my son. I call Chabad. They promised to help him. They don't help him. Nobody helps my son. He decided to go back to his father in Switzerland. Now, thank you, Switzerland, by the way, for not putting my violent husband in prison ever and letting him teach in school. Thank you so much for making me like a crazy person, for being in a hospital, being attacked by a man, and he said it was self-defense. A man was 190, 100 kilograms, beats the shit out of me for 9 years, and the Swiss don't intervene in the family, they say. No, they don't. They just came in the family, took the kids, broke the family apart. Thank you, Switzerland, for taking money from me, for a barking dog, for garbage being in the wrong place, hundreds of francs, and not helping me. You help people from all over the world, but not me. I escaped to Israel and I received zero help. Zero help. I served in the army, I worked as a teacher in the worst neighborhoods, and I've got nothing to show for it. All I wanted was psychotherapy. That's all I wanted, and I can't afford it. And the psychiatric department here doesn't even pick up the phone. They get money to pick up the phone and they don't do it. Nothing functions here. All I can tell you is that as soon as I can, I'm getting the hell out of here. This is not the Jewish homeland. It's a homeland for other people. It's the money for people who are corrupt to get more money. And nobody cares about you. Not Chabad, nobody, no rabbis, nobody. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares about you here. You know who they care about? Eritrean, African refugees get help. Russian non-Jews get help. They get taxis to drive their kids home. My son doesn't get any help. My son doesn't get any help. No financial help, nothing. So the army doesn't even help him. Nefesh b'nefesh is supposed to help. He said, oh, you're not from the US? We can't help you. My son is a Dutch citizen. Therefore, he has no priority. You know who gets priority? French Jews, who have so much money they buy the whole entire Neve Tzedek. They get help. Russian people get help. French people get help. Americans get help. Dutch Jews don't get help. Why is that? Why is that? Because his father is Dutch. We only lived in Switzerland because his father immigrated there. And he's a teacher. And I'm not a Swiss citizen. I'm not a Swiss citizen. I'm not a Dutch citizen. My children are Dutch Israelis. They get no help from Israel. If you're Russian, non-Jew, you get help. You get taxis to drive your kids home. You get teachers like me who get punched in the face. I got punched in the face by kids. The Board of Education doesn't give me stable work because I don't have a teaching certificate because of one course. And Seminar Kibbutzim won't give me the teaching certificate. One course missing, and I have a master's degree. I have a master's degree in education from an American university where I studied for 4 years, but they don't give me a stable job. So you know what? Of course I went crazy, because it doesn't make sense, does it? That a person with a master's degree can't teach English in Israeli schools. It doesn't make sense at all. Nothing makes sense here. It doesn't make sense that Bibi Netanyahu stole so much money and he's still prime minister. It doesn't make sense that the health system doesn't work and they offer Lebanon help. Lebanon, when my boyfriend was murdered in 1982, thrown a grenade, they want to help them. Ron Huldai, the mayor of Tel Aviv, identifies with Lebanon. If Lebanon was a good country, why do they try to destroy the Jewish people here? Why? Why do they throw a grenade at my boyfriend? What did he ever do to them? He only protected his people. People here care more about non-Jews than Jews. That is the fact. People care more about money than souls. And I've never wanted money, but I just need money to survive, and I don't even have that. I never asked for anything. I just wanted work. That's all I did. So I worked in a job totally unsuitable for me. I'm not suitable to work with violent children who hit. I'm not suitable for that. I'm too sensitive. So I cried the whole night. I had a nervous breakdown, and now I'm in Ichilov, and I'm not getting any help. I'm just saying that I bother people. I bother people. That's what I get. I come from such a wealthy family, and I get nothing, because my brother decided that he needs to have 5 apartments. 5 apartments my brother has. 5 apartments, but he can't give his sister any help. And my nephew says that he's going to call the police on me, because I call. Well, I have a news for my nephew. Your father is a thief. He stole from your grandmother's home. He went into my mother's house after she died and just took whatever he wanted. He took over the bank accounts of my parents. And when my father was dying of cancer in 1982, I was the only one there at home. I had to help. From the age 1980 to 1982, my father was dying of cancer. And I was the one at home, emptying the urine and nursing him not to help, till he died. I saw when he died. I saw a dead man, my father dying. What was my brother? He was in Eilat. He was in the Red Sea, serving in the army, going on ships. Where was my sister? In Canada. She didn't even come for the funeral, but she came to collect the money. She came to collect the money, but she didn't come to her own father's funeral. And what did she do when I had a car accident and I almost died? You know what she did? She wanted to hit me because she was so jealous my mother gave me attention. All my life I suffered abuse from my siblings. And then when my mother died, they just stole everything they could and left me in a bad financial situation. All I can say to those people is, karma works. I'm not a crazy person. I've just been abused too long by too many people. And I live in a very dysfunctional country where we help everybody except go help Lebanon. Indeed, we have so many doctors. Why don't we send them to Lebanon? Why don't we comfort the people who sent terrorists here? Why don't we comfort the people that threw a grenade at my boyfriend in 1982? Let's kiss and hug them, indeed. It's not my fault explosives killed people in Lebanon. It's not my fault that people from Africa bring their kids here and give them to me to take care of. I'm not African. I didn't go to volunteer in Africa. I come here to live with my people. But I discovered there's no such thing as the Jewish people. It doesn't exist. What exists is ego. Ego. People accumulate the most money they can and they don't care about anybody else but themselves. And then they send you to a psychiatrist because you have a nervous breakdown. You know why you have a nervous breakdown? Because you're sensitive and you're aware of what big bullshit this world is. How people that are supposed to protect you don't protect you. That's it. I was here 3 weeks ago after I was attacked. And did I get psychiatric help? No. Did I get psychological help? No. This is our public health system. It doesn't help. It looks really good. Oh, affordable health care. But you know what it is in practical? Not enough doctors. Not enough doctors. But we have doctors to send to Lebanon. Yes. We have doctors to send to a country that sends us terrorists to kill us. That we have. An enemy country has an accident with explosives. We'll send them doctors. We'll take care of them. We'll light up the Tel Aviv municipality with their flag. We'll help non-Jews. We'll help Africans, but we won't help our own people. And the lawyers will not help you unless you have a lot of money. So the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And the education system is full of people who don't really have an ability to handle the violence and the low salaries. I get less than a cleaning person. Less than a cleaning person. And I have a master's degree. If you're from Russia, France, or US, you get help from the absorption ministry. If you not happen to be lucky enough to be French, American, or Russian, especially non-Jew Russian, you will get zero help here. If you're Israeli, you get -0 help. This country has never helped me in anything except taking advantage of me. I served in the army, I worked as a teacher, and look what I get from the Ministry of Education. You're too old, they tell me. You're too old. You're too old. Why don't you just dig a grave and die? What is the difference between the Nazis that murdered my mother's family and people who don't help me and watch me slowly go mad without helping? What is the difference between that? Slowly torturing a person, not giving them any help. What is the difference between a Nazi and a person that doesn't help you? There's not only bad people here. A man called a taxi when he saw me crying in the street and helped me come here. But nobody's going to help me. I'm going to get one of these cynical psychiatrists who's going to give me a pill that's going to make me dependent on it for the rest of my life. They're not going to give me psychotherapy because they don't believe in psychotherapy. In Russia, they don't believe in psychotherapy. They believe in shoving pills to people and making them emotionally handicapped for the rest of their life. Why? Because nothing here is balanced. Nothing. This is life and I have to deal with it. I should never have come back to a country that only took from me and never gave me anything. Took my boyfriend, took my father, who devoted himself to Israel. This is what I get. Thank you, Ruby Rivlin, the president of Israel, for giving me a letter that the Jewish agency should help me after you come to my father's funeral and you see me standing as a child and you don't even care. You care about criminals from New York, the mafia that you bring, ultra-Orthodox criminals you bring here, but your own cousin's daughter you don't take care of. Thank you so much, Ruby Rivlin. And his brother, the lawyer, who said to me, you don't look Shapira. You don't look like the family. It's not even blood relative. He's a step brother of Ruby Rivlin and he inherited my uncle's house. How is that? Because he's a lawyer. Explain to me. Explain to me, Ruby Rivlin, why you don't care about my children. Why my children don't get help from Israel to come here. You tell me, Ruby Rivlin, why you brag with my great-grandfather, Avraham Shapira, that he did the Sulcha in Kfar Qasim, but you don't help me at all. That you let your stepbrother inherits money from a family he's not even related to. Ruby Rivlin, never say the name of my great-grandfather again, because I am going to get a lawyer. I'm going to sue you for using his name in vain and giving me a cynical letter from your secretary that you can't help me. But you use my great-grandfather's name. It's about time that people are awake to the hypocrisy that is called the President of Israel, the Prime Minister of Israel, making a joke and mockery out of us. This country doesn't work. It doesn't function, for me at least. And if you have any brains, you leave it. And I am planning to leave. I am planning to leave as soon as I have money. Because my life is more important than a dead ideal. My life is more important than Zionism. I've given this country the most important thing. I've given them everything. My mental health. I've never received anything from this country. My best friend from the army, my best friend from school, turned their back to me. Everybody turned their back to me. There are good people here, but the problem is the mental health system sucks. The health system sucks. And Corona is not our biggest problem. There are not a lot of people dying of Corona, but many people die of heartbreak, being on sedatives and psychiatric medication because nobody wants and cares about them. And it's easier to just stuff pills into people than deal with the real problems of society. The old people don't care. They just care about being wealthy and living the good life. People talk about money constantly. This is not the land of the Jews. It's the land of the rich. It's the land of the wealthy. It's the land of the stereotyped Jew. And I'm not a stereotyped Jew. I'm not wealthy. I don't take advantage of people. And I'm not well connected. Even though I have same DNA. Let's do a DNA test to Ruby Rivlin and me and see that his grandmother was the sister of my great-grandfather. I want to see what this DNA connection brings me. Absolutely nothing. My great-grandfather had 8 children. They had children. They had children. I had cousins. When you turn your back on a family relative who's struggling, you're not worth nothing. I don't care if you're a doctor or a president or anything. Life is short. I'm not going to waste it expecting anything from anyone. I want to go home to my cat. That's all I want. But I don't know why I'm here. Psychiatrists can help me. I just need to accept that this world is bad. In this country, it's just a lie. It's a big, fat lie. Which is why my son is leaving. If it was really the homeland, the Jewish homeland, my son wouldn't be leaving. My son wouldn't be on the next airplane out of here. This is how you treat newcomers who don't come from USA, Russia, or France. Thank you, Israel, for taking away my son. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm a giver, and I will always be a giver. I will take care of the cats and the dogs and the children as soon as I get over my nervous breakdown. And you will never take care of me because this is a bad country for people who need help. Not because it's a poor country, because the division of money here is not good, because the corruption, because we have a prime minister who acts like a dictator. I didn't vote for him. Why is he still in office? I voted for Benny Gantz. Why is he not in office? I'm not going to support ultra-Orthodox people, extremists who want to divide and take money for their yeshiva. First be a human being, then put a kippah on. I didn't see Chabad. She promised me they will help my kids. Not one rabbi called my children. Not one rabbi called my children. Why is that? All my life, I sent them to Jewish schools. I did everything to become religious. And this is what I get. The rabbi doesn't have time. I come from 42 rabbis in my family. A long line of rabbis in Ukraine. Thank you so much, Ruby Rivlin, for using our family name in order to make yourself big, but practically turning your back on a person in need. Thank you. Thank you so much. My mother had a stroke and my brother took her to a lawyer instead of a doctor, and she died in this hospital. And I got a phone call, oh, your mother's dead. I didn't even know she was having surgery, nothing. I didn't know she had a stroke. Because if I'd known